Let me put a question to you directly. If a client's most honest words, things they have never told another person, were being processed by a third-party server right now and you had not told them, would that be a problem? Of course it would. So let's talk about when an AI note taker does exactly that. I want to be clear about the stakes before we get practical. When a client speaks in a session, they are not generating content. They are trusting you with the unedited version of themselves, the doubt they would never say at work, the fear underneath the goal. The moment a recording exists, those words have left the room. They are now data governed by something. If the client did not knowingly agree to that, you have a problem. First, let me say plainly, I am not here to call these tools bad. AI note takers and transcription tools offer genuine value, accurate records of what was said, less cognitive load while you coach, better recall of the specifics later. Those are real benefits. So the question is not whether these tools can be used. It is what makes their use ethical. Most coaches reach for the tool and never work that question through. Here is the first anchor, and it is the ICF Code of Ethics. Your confidentiality obligation is not limited to what you do with session content. It extends to what any party you involve does with it. The moment you introduce a vendor into the session, a vendor's model becomes a party to your client's disclosure. And that responsibility does not transfer to the vendor. The tool is your decision. The consent is your obligation. The ethics are yours to uphold, regardless of the technology. Second anchor, the data handling realities. Before any tool runs, you ask 3 questions. Where does the recording go? Your device or the cloud? If the cloud, whose servers, which jurisdiction? Who controls access? Can the vendor's staff read session content? And the one most coaches never check, does the vendor's model train on session data? For many tools, the standard terms permit exactly that unless you explicitly opt out. A client's most vulnerable words could be improving a commercial model you have no relationship with. Read the terms before you record. Let me make this concrete. For example, you are coaching a VP processing a real crisis, a situation that could end their career if it became public. They speak to you in confidence. You are running a transcription tool because you want accurate notes. That transcript is processed on a cloud server in a jurisdiction you never checked, under terms you skimmed once. The privacy policy says they may use interaction data to improve their model. Did the VP consent to that? Do they even know the tool was on? This is not an exotic edge case. This is what using an AI note taker can mean unless you have verified otherwise. Third anchor, informed consent. This is where you take back control. What you disclose, that a tool is present, what it records, where that data goes, and how long it is retained. When you disclose it, before the session begins, when you establish the coaching agreement, not mid-session with the tool running. That is not consent, that is notification after the fact. And how you frame it, not defensively, not as a confession, as professional transparency. You are giving the client real information so they can make a real choice, including the choice to opt out. Here is what that actually sounds like. I sometimes use a transcription tool to help me keep accurate notes. Here is what it does with the recording, where it is stored, and how to opt out if you would prefer I take notes manually. Any questions before we decide? The conversation takes 90 seconds. And look at what those 90 seconds do. They build trust instead of quietly risking it. They give the client real information instead of a false assumption of privacy. The disclosure is not the cost of the tool. The disclosure is the protection. Now, before you ever sit across from the client, there are 3 questions you ask yourself. Does my client know and genuinely consent? Boilerplate is not consent. Real understanding, real choice. Do I know where their data actually goes? You cannot protect what you have not traced. And the hardest one, if the vendor is breached, what is exposed, and is that a risk I am authorized to accept on my client's behalf? And do not assume a popular tool is a compliant tool. Popularity is not an ethical standard. So let me close this where it belongs. None of this is bureaucracy, and none of it is fear of technology. It is what the ICF Code of Ethics looks like applied to new tools. The obligation is the same as it has always been. Only the technology is new. You stay in control by asking the questions before you use the tool, not after. So that is the coaching room from the inside. Your presence, your ethics, your client's data. Now let's step back. AI coaching platforms are real. They are growing, and your clients will use them. Some already do. Before we dismiss them, we should understand what they actually offer, and then, with precision, what they cannot do.